struggles and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul and Gato Comedy Syndicate present Big Comedy Energy November 11th and 12th, featuring headliner Corbin LeMaster.
If you don't know, cultural appropriation is like if you're not black, you can't have cornrows. If you're not Asian, you can't use chopsticks. If you're white, you can't score a touchdown.
4 shows November 11th and 12th at 7 and 9:30 at Mary Ellen's at 27th and Pine Lake. Tickets are $15 in advance or $25 at the door. For more information, find the event on the Mary Ellen's page on Facebook.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and things are rocking in Louisville. We've got transport showing up every day with loads of new inventory, lots of new trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. Our pre-owned inventory is also filling up fast. Our GMC Terrain inventory is really filling up fast, so we're putting special pricing on those right now. This is the time to check out our GMC Terrains, as we've got all models with a great selection of colors at a discounted price. So please stop in or check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
In today's day and age, people are trying to do more and more projects by themselves. That might be better on the wallet, but it can also lead to painful sounds like this. Ow! Poor guy, trying to do wiring all by himself. Let's have another listen. It's just not worth it. Don't hurt yourself or make things worse than they are already. For any of your electric needs, call Joe at Ambition Electric today at 402-217-3415 or go to ambitionelectric.com.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
It's time for Outside the Box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's another edition of Outside the Box being brought to you by Raising Cane's here on 93.7 The Ticket. We're talking Lincoln Stars hockey this evening. I'm Joel Norman, and instead of Rocky Russo, we're joined by Stars assistant coach and goaltending coach Art Bry. And Art, it's a great time to have you on after the weekend that one of our upcoming guests had this past weekend, Cameron Whitehead. 2 victories for him, including a shutout last Friday, 66 saves in total over this past weekend. As a goaltending coach, you probably had to be smiling a little bit watching the work that he put in this past weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Joel.
Of course.
I feel like I was just on here, but obviously jumping on with you on a Tuesday night it's always a pleasure. But Cam Whitehead, yeah, he had a great weekend. I feel like we kind of had the conversation last time, and he's kind of developed into a nice little goalie here. So to see his body of work just continue and to see him have success and to see the team have success, it was great. And we just build on that into the weekend.
Whitehead was a big part of the Stars weekend sweep, the 3rd time that they have swept a weekend this season. They won 1-0 last Friday against Omaha before picking up a 5-3 win the next night against Sioux City. 2 different types of games, Art, where obviously he was pretty much the thing both the games, game to game, whereas, well, he was still brilliant both nights. But a lot of things changed night to night. Felt like everything that Rocky was saying, he was a little bit more satisfied with how you guys came out on Friday. Saturday was your first time against Sioux City. What were some of the challenges you guys found going one night to the next? Because, like I said, it seemed like things changed a little bit Saturday, but you were able to get the win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at the previous weekend, we weren't too happy as a group. Obviously, we dropped those two. So coming into Friday, we had a game plan. We had a great week of practice. We built momentum throughout the week, and so the guys came out flying. They came out ready to play, and obviously Omaha is a tough opponent, and their goaltender is obviously developing into quite a nice goalie as well. So it kind of turned into a little bit of a goalie battle there, but transitioning into Saturday, I think we were obviously excited from Friday, and our group, since it's still early in the year, I think we're still learning, we're still growing, and having maturity as a group in between those games on back-to-back nights, I think is something that we're still kind of learning. And so going through that, stepping into Sioux City, a Clark Cup champion team, and they're coached well, they play hard, especially in their home building. So I think we didn't expect it to be easy, but we didn't compete. We didn't knock the door down in the first 10 minutes, so to speak. So we kind of had to weather the storm. Luckily, we had some good goaltending early. We popped one early with Marcy and Doug connecting there. So I think ultimately getting the 2 wins was huge, but obviously learning how hard it is to win back-to-back nights within this league. Everybody's good. You look at the standings, everyone's pretty close. So I think for us, take the 2 wins, but at the same time, take that learning opportunity to understand what it takes to have success in back-to-back nights.
Last Friday in particular was a fantastic game. Crowd was rocking because it was Omaha, a really fun matchup, really tight one where it was one of those games where the next shot could determine the way the game's going to go. I imagine you, as a goaltending coach, former goaltender, you prefer those low-scoring games, I would imagine. What stuck out to you about what the Stars did so well last Friday in particular?
I enjoy competitive hockey. And so obviously low scoring is great, but I mean, if it's an 8-8 game and both goaltenders are battling it out, like I think that's just as enjoyable, right?
Okay.
It's different challenges for the guys in the net. But getting back to your question, I think more than anything, we were really happy to see us play a complete game on Friday. I think obviously we'd love to have scored more goals, have more offense, but we did create. Their goaltender had some good saves as well, and their team played hard, blocked a lot of shots. But I think, like I had said prior, looking back at the previous weekend and our body of work there, and then into last Friday, we're kind of real happy with that response as a group and getting those 2 wins. So I think for us, we found a way. But at the end of the day, whether it's 1-0, 5-0, 5-5, like we got 2 points, and that's all that matters.
This is Outside the Box as we're talking Lincoln Stars hockey here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Joel Norman alongside Lincoln Stars goaltending coach Art Bry. And Art, last Friday was a heck of a goalie matchup. I love the way that Rocky phrased it after the game. He said to fans during coach's comments, he said, these are 2 future NHL goalies going right now. And it showed with the way they played. Michael Harabel of Omaha has obviously gotten a lot of publicity this season in general. NHL Central Scouting has ranked him as a potential first-round pick in this coming draft. As a goaltending coach, I think the fans assume probably, you're focusing a lot on our guys. Are you ever doing a little bit looking at other guys and trying to pinpoint maybe here's a weakness, here's something we can exploit? Is that something you're doing at all, maybe during the week or during a game?
I think I'm in a unique position being an assistant coach and a goaltending coach. I definitely have some insight into that. And I do offer a goaltender pre-scout prior to our games. So I do some film. I look at who we're playing against. I look at their body of work leading up to it, kind of how their last start went. Statistics nowadays, like we have access to amazing stats. So it's really easy for me to compile that information and then maybe throw in a little tidbit of my own there. I'm not going to tip my hat on some of our previous goals but obviously our guys know that to take a look at the sheet, because the sheet reflects exactly how that goaltender plays, so to speak. And so picking up on tendencies, picking up on weaknesses, things of that nature. And if it's allowing us to even just get a sniff of more offense, then we're adding value in that way. So I think we're lucky enough to have a bunch of great coaches on staff. So if I'm able to add some value in that sense, I absolutely do.
How much do you enjoy the statistical side as a coach? You hear a lot of times former players, coaches, current players, you say, you can use some of that, maybe too much of it can be a bad thing. Are you someone you enjoy to use those statistics?
I think they're interesting. I think if you know how to dissect them and digest them, so to speak, you can really paint a certain picture. Obviously, you want to make sure you're getting the eye test and you're seeing things for yourself. But I think it's just another stream of information, and the more information that you do have, the better decision that you can make moving forward. So take it for what it is. I think sometimes we get emotional at times, so the stats maybe sometimes allow us to disconnect emotion from logic. And in the world of goaltending, right, like if you're getting scored on and they're all over your left shoulder, the stats are going to reflect that. And so I think it's a quick and easy way for us to kind of not only pinpoint our enemy, so to speak, but at the same time maybe reflect on our own goalies, and maybe pick up on some of their own tendencies, right? Or maybe if we don't get the win, but we want to paint the picture that we did a good job, we can take a look at the stats and maybe they speak otherwise with high danger situations or penalty kill or things of that nature, where we as a goaltender community kind of take pride in those things. As well as, certain ratios of shots against, so to speak, right? If shots are 10-1 to start the game and it's 0-0, right? Like we could take pride in we came out ready to go and we were prepared. And so there's always positives to take away as well as some negatives. So ensuring that we're finding those positives maintains confidence, maintains motivation, things like that, while also allowing us to maybe get after some of those weaknesses while still not feeling too down on ourselves.
You talked a little bit about the opening minutes of games. It feels like for the Stars, if there's been one common theme this year, it's been those opening 5 minutes have sometimes been a battle. You've had some stretches where you guys have been outshot. In the last 4 games overall, the Stars have single-digit shots in the first period. And I bring it up a lot, but I'm very aware that shots aren't fully telling of how your possession went for a period. But I think the simple, the caveman logic here is shots on net equal potential goals as well. What's been going on, you think, with some of these first periods, those first 5 minutes? Because while those minutes haven't always determined a game, it's gotten you guys off on a slower start than you would like sometimes. And I think that's something, and again, we're nitpicking here with how you guys have started, but that's something I know you guys have been noticing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you look back on our games, what we're recognizing is that those first 10 minutes at home, we have that energy. And then on the road, we maybe are a little timid. And getting back to that maturity as a group, I think that's where the more we're going to have road games. We've only had a handful, but the more that our group can go through those kind of road experiences, that road work prep, they're gonna learn what it takes to come out kind of on time, so to speak. So obviously we were able to weather the storm on these past couple of games here, but at the same time, it's definitely something we as a group are identifying and working towards improving. And it really just translates to how we start our day during the week. And so we're making sure that we have high energy, we're starting on time, and we're trying to make sure that preparation we have in the week carries over into the weekend.
Lots of road games coming up for the Stars, including this Friday at Omaha. You guys have seen them a lot so far this season. This will be meeting number 4. You've won 2 of 3. Home team has been victorious so far. And as we're talking about these road challenges, you've been at that place. The energy there a couple Fridays ago was pretty palpable. And I think they fed off of that. The Lancers did. How do you go in there and steal 2 points from your rivals this Friday?
They have a great building. They have a great fan base. They have a great team. And that should make it that much more exciting for our guys. I think fully immersing themselves in that experience as opposed to it being, creating a sense of fear or anxiousness or stress, what have you. But I think if they're able to look at it through the lens of this is exciting, this is an opportunity, this is energy that I can feed off regardless of if they're rooting for me or not. But at the end of the day, I think when you look at our team and when we do have success, we stick to our game plan. We come out and we have a game plan as a staff and as a team. And sometimes when we're not clicking, we deviate from that. And our guys maybe sometimes try to do a little bit too much, or they try to do it on their own as opposed to sticking to our systems or sticking to maybe Coach Rocky's game plan. And that can happen prior to the game or mid game, just changes, things like that. So I think for us, our plan is to come in with great energy. At the same time, really dial in the details of our prep work leading up to that. And then obviously our guys executing that come game time.
Talked a lot about road games here. 5 of the Stars' next 7 games are on the road away from the Icebox. But this Saturday, they are going to be home taking on Des Moines at 6:05 p.m. And this Saturday's game is also military night with a post-game jersey auction. Those are always a little hush-hush what the jersey's going to be. I'm excited to see what that's going to be like, but fans can come to that game and bid on the jerseys after the game. You can get your tickets for this Saturday's game now at LincolnStars.com. So there is a bit of a challenge with these road games, Art. Like you said, and Rocky's brought that up too. We've been really lucky to have a lot of home games, but this team's going to get tested with a lot of road games. You've played in this league. You're a 2-time Clark Cup champion. I love to bring that up as much as I can because of how rare that is to do with multiple teams. But what's the biggest challenge of playing on the road in this league?
Well, I think, we look at our own group and our guys are more comfortable at home. You don't have to deal with travel on the day of. You don't have to deal with on the road. You don't have to deal with opponent locker rooms, things like that, especially for some guys where it's their first time stepping into these buildings and kind of having to get acclimated to that environment, as well as go through their routine and their prep. So I think for us and from personal experience, going through it, and really paying attention to the details of your experience, so to speak. So we're really reflecting on, okay, I had a great game. What'd that look like prior? What'd that look like the morning of, the night before? Obviously, a lot of athletes are superstitious. I like to be more ritualistic, so to speak, to where I don't have to be binded by my superstitions, but more so habits that I have that make me feel good about myself and make me feel confident about myself. So we're a developmental league. And I think for our young guys and even our veteran guys, like these road games and these 60 plus game seasons are just opportunities for them to learn about their own process, learn about what it's going to take for them to be prepared going into buildings or even at home, so to speak. I know in college, you love playing in front of your student body, but I got even more nervous playing at home because I wanted to play well for the student body. I wanted to play well for the fans, right? So I had that challenge of I had to learn how to play at home. So I think it's just unique to everybody and unique to certain groups. And our group is still learning about that, but our leaders are kind of taking that to heart and are doing a better job of making sure not only that they're prepared, but the team's prepared. And we take those first 5 serious. That way we can build momentum into the next 5, and an intermission, and obviously carry that throughout the game.
I'm glad you brought up rituals and superstitions. People always say hockey is kind of one of those sports where people are really into their habits. You're a coach. I don't know how many times fans are curious about that or they're aware of what, habits you might have. Take me through a game day. What are some things you're doing that you maybe don't have to do, but you like to do on a game day leading up to it as a coach?
Like me personally? Or
personally. Yeah, take fans through a day. Like, what are some things you like to do to get ready to coach that night?
Well, I mean, from a coaching perspective, the game days are my off days. That's when I take a step back and I let the dogs run, so to speak. I let the boys go do their thing. So game days are super fun for me. I get to the rink, obviously try to get there early, make sure the rink's open for the guys, and Coach Z's there as well. So we try to create good energy, right? So we're really engaging in conversation with the guys. Hey, how'd you sleep? Things like that, right? Like pitter patter, let's get out of here, like high fives, things like that. Just really trying to create energy. And then we hop on the ice for morning skate. Usually whoever's starting will go through kind of some tracking work. So tracking is just watching pucks in. So a lot of shots for our starting goalie, and he kind of practices getting in that headspace because that's so important for a goaltender. After that, then it's work with a guy who's not playing. I think we here in Lincoln, we take a lot of pride in how we develop our goaltenders. And so if you're not starting, we stay on the ice, and we're the last ones to get off the ice because we have that much more work to do because you have the night off, so to speak, right? So we have to make sure that we're getting something out of the day. So I get to stay on. I get to work with the guy who's not playing, which is a one-on-one situation. So for me, that's the best place to be, right? You're on the ice working with goalies. So after that, I get off, I have a cup of coffee, I do some pre-scout with Coach Z and Coach Rocky, and try to get a workout in and just kind of hang out. But then we're back at the rink around 4. Our pre-scouts 2 hours prior, so we talk to the guys about kind of what we need to do before the game and what we need to do to take down who we're playing against. But then after that, we kind of just relax, right, until the puck drop, we coach, and then from there, the guys do the rest of the job. So game days are super, super great for coaches. Obviously, me being a second-year coach here in Lincoln, I've had to learn my own routines on game days, but for the most part, making sure the goalies and the guys get what they need.
As a former goaltender, I was really hoping you'd have something strange in there, like, I don't cross this place, or I don't step on cracks as I'm walking along. I was hoping for something like that, but you're showing how normal you are here, Art, as well.
Yeah, I've been told I'm a very normal goalie, right? Which I take pride in.
It's not a bad thing. It's something that makes some of them unique as well. We were talking a little bit about getting some work in after practices. That's not just a game day thing. Anyone, if you're ever able to watch a practice, they notice that you're one of the last guys off, working with goalies a lot of times. What are some of those things when you're working one-on-one with a guy in a situation like that? Is it just a lot of just conversation, getting them in the right mindset, or is it talking about technique things, so to speak?
I think it's both. I think it's a mixture of both. We try to have a lot of intention and purpose behind everything that we do, not only as a staff but as an organization. So even if we're out after practice working on a minuscule thing, something very, very minor, we take great pride in it. And so having that mindset of going into even dirty type work where you're getting pucks out of corners or battling for space net front, right? Like so having a certain mindset going into that allows you to get more out of it, right? So we want to make sure we're maximizing our time and taking the most out of everything that we do. So a lot of it is technical, right? But a lot of it also just has to do with how you apply yourself in a situation. If you give full effort every single time, you're going to get much more out of it than if you gave half effort half of the time. So I think for that, it's really just building habits, because the habits we create for our players here is what's going to allow them to excel at the next level. And so the habits you have in approaching your pre-practice work or your post-practice work with your skills coach or with your goalie coach, I think kind of represents how serious you take your job as an athlete. And obviously you translate that mindset into a game. So it's just an opportunity for us to not only practice physical skill work, but also kind of that mental side of the game.
We've talked a lot about Cameron Whitehead, and he's going to be on here in just a little bit, along with Cole Krusberg-Rosine, Stars defenseman. I want to talk about Lucas Massey. He got off to such a great start. He had that tough one against Tri-City a few weeks ago. I'm sure he's chomping to get back out on the ice right now. How do you keep a backup goaltender ready? Because this season, it's clear. Whitey's the number one guy. He's going to get the bulk of the starts, but as we've already seen, he had to come in relief one time. You have to keep the backup ready for that emergency situation the night maybe you don't think you're going. How do you keep him ready to go for whenever the moment calls?
Well, we as an organization like to be very process driven, not outcome driven. And so for Mass, right, like the outcome wasn't there last start, but the process is there. His body of work speaks of that. He comes ready to go every single day. He's one of the first guys at the rink, one of the last to leave. He's always on the ice first. He's one of the last guys to leave. He's always stepping in the net to take shots, things like that. So I think for him in his situation, it's not necessarily focusing in on those outcomes, but really just diving into his process. And so for him, it's coming to the rink every single day with purpose and getting better every single day. And we like to have a little saying, we're building. Right. We're always building. We're always building. We're always building. And so even though it didn't go the way he wanted it to go, right, there were still immense learning opportunities. And so we focused on that. At the same time, we flipped the script and we're using it as fuel for the next start. But at the same time, right, he had to learn that it's hard to play in this league. Right. And he had success his first two starts. So whether he got complacent or not, that's not the point. I think the point is that he had to go through that experience to recognize how much pride and how challenging this job is and how much pride he has to take in his body of work. So I'm never happy when that happens from a team point, but like from an individual perspective, I think it's great for him and it's only going to make him a better goalie in the long run.
I like that you bring up they need to be ever evolving, because this isn't a league where you can just come in and assume that you're going to stay the same just because you had success somewhere else or just because you've built up to a really good point. I think that's the real challenge of the USHL in general. And it goes into what we've talked about each opponent. In a way, it makes the schedule so exciting. This is such a tight Western Conference. The Stars are in first right now, but it's a 1-point lead. And it's only one over Fargo, who you haven't played yet, but every opponent is so huge. Is it easier to keep guys motivated when every game is that close, where you can say, hey, look, they are 3 points below us in the standings, despite being, 6th of 8 teams in the division? Is it easier to prepare that way?
Well, I think it's easier from the sense of everyone's dangerous as opposed to individual teams are dangerous. So the narrative becomes we always have to be ready to go every single night. We can't take a night off because every time we play somebody, they're good. And we have to bring our game. So I think it just stresses our preparation. It stresses our attention to detail. And it really stresses kind of our commitment to all of those things and committing to those things, despite maybe us not getting certain outcomes. Right. So having great pride in our process and how we go about our day-to-day momentum building throughout the week, so our guys are peaking at the right time on Friday game day. But the narrative is we always have to make sure we're ready to go, because any team can beat us on any given night. So we really have to focus in on what we're doing and make sure we're doing it to the best of our ability.
And I like how that matches up this weekend. You're going against Omaha, who you had a tight game with, who you have lost to this season. And then the next day, you're facing the team who beat them 7-2 last week. So both present a unique challenge in that sense, and I think that makes it really enjoyable as well. We're chatting Lincoln Stars hockey here on 93.7. The Ticket, of course, Outside the Box is being brought to you by Raising Cane's. And as we mentioned, Saturday's game, which is against Des Moines, is military night. We'll also have a post-game jersey auction following that game, so you can come by and bid on some of the Stars' unique military uniforms for that game. I'm Joel Norman, alongside Stars goaltending coach Art Bry. And Art, we talked about all these road games coming up, and I meant to mention it before, but I guess the best way for Stars fans to help out would be to come down to Omaha this coming Friday, make it a home environment. I noticed it, and I kind of took a moment and smiled a little bit a couple of Fridays ago when Doug scored what ended up being the Stars' only goal of that game. You could kind of hear the crowd chants doing what they would do as if they were at the ice box. How much do you notice? I always wonder this with coaches and players. How much do you notice the crowd in a sense like that? Is it ever something that actually becomes a factor in a game, or is it something that you just tune out? And I can understand as a former goaltender if you just tune it out.
I think that's the main answer, is you tune it out. But I also think that when a home crowd is bringing the energy, the guys are feeding off it 100%. No doubt about it. When you're in a hostile environment as a road or as an opponent, and the home crowd's bringing it, you're aware of it. Absolutely. And it more so reflects how good you are at managing distractions and kind of your attentional control, so to speak. So it definitely plays a big factor. And I think that's why I don't want to say we're better at home, but we love playing at home, because the home crowd, we feed off of it. And we know as a group that we only have a finite amount of home games. And so every home game is incredibly valuable, because it's an opportunity to play in front of that energy. And it's the seventh man out there, so to speak, how the phrase goes. So it definitely plays a big factor. How guys are able to distract or block it out and tune out those distractions is more so subjective and up to them. But for the most part, it definitely plays a big factor.
I wanted to switch things up a little bit and talk about, we are early on in the month of November. Several members of the Stars have started doing the No Shave November contest, which is, for me, it's always enjoyable watching them, because half the guys can really grow ones. You've got a guy like Daniel Sambuco, who's like the walking 5 o'clock shadow. You have other guys who maybe it's a bit of an issue. You've got a great stash going right now. Who else has done a great job so far that you want to kind of, just some guys you've noticed they're doing pretty well growing out their No Shave November mustache?
I don't want to give out any spoilers. Fans are going to have to come down to the ice box on Saturday to come find out who is growing the muzzies out. But we have a couple guys that are growing some fine stashes. Antonio's got a nice little pencil stash going on. He loves showing that off. I saw Mangan with I think a sticky mustache. He hasn't taken it off. It's still glued to his face. I think Whitey has one, but his hairs are blonde, so you can't see them. But no, everyone's participating. It's fun. And as it is, our guys are pretty rugged anyway, so they're not shaving as it is. But yeah, it's good.
There were a couple guys who I was seriously asking, can you grow one? And they took a little offense to that. Tanner Lutke didn't like it when I asked him that. And I said, you're 17 years old right now. It's a legitimate question. I couldn't grow one very well at that age, but I've enjoyed that as well. One thing we talked about last week with Rocky, I wanted to bring this up to another kind of off-topic thing. He brought up how he was kind of in the holiday mood. He told me today, guys in the locker room have been kind of listening to the Christmas music a little bit. I was a little surprised by that. It's still pretty warm out. Is it too early to be getting into that mood? Because I feel like it is.
Hey, to each their own. Whatever. I know how I feel about it. I want to enjoy my seasons or my holidays as they come. But the guys are rocking some Christmas music at times. But for the most part, I think their taste in music is poor anyway. So if they're rocking Christmas music or rap music or whatever, it's whatever anyway.
That's fair. One of these days, maybe they'll let you hop on and put on some of your
maybe,
songs.
maybe.
We'll see. Well, Art, thank you for joining us here. Let's have some more fun games to talk about this coming weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. This was a blast.
That was the goaltending coach of the Lincoln Stars, Art Bryan, joining us. I'm Joel Norman. We're going to take a quick break. This is Outside the Box, brought to you by Raising Cane's on 93.7 The Ticket.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
There's no reason to change something that's working. So if your first 16 scripted plays work, guess what I'm running? Another 16.
Yeah, same ones.
What's wrong with that? So if your plays are working and they're doing a good job, throw out the rest of your playbook and be a coach. You know what? A coach can draw it up in the sand. What would you do if you took the playbooks?
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina is the talk of the Haymarket, and for good reason. Grab a breakfast taco on a game day morning or stop by for lunch or dinner for their huge variety of street taco options. They have everything from carne asada or chorizo tacos to shrimp or fish tacos, buffalo chicken, and more. Plus, they have more than 140 different tequilas and tons of other beer or mixed drink options. There's truly something for everyone. Make plans to stop by for any meal of the day at Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina, 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit GoCurrency.com and apply today.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstoRats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 9th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Reward yourself with Kasasa Free Checking. Liberty First Credit Union invites you to open a free Kasasa checking account and earn up to 3% APY for up to $30,000. Get paid for banking. What are you waiting for? Earning a high reward rate is easy, and Kasasa checking is always free. Liberty First Credit Union offers free online banking and bill pay, free e-statements, free mobile banking, and so much more. See LibertyFirstCU.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
This is Megan Whitaker from the Nebraska golf team. If you've put your clubs away for the winter, it's time to get them back out. There's no need to stop thanks to Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle is home to Lincoln's best indoor golf simulators. It's perfect for every level of golfer, with everything from casual games for the kids to hyper-realistic simulations of some of the best courses in the world. And the best part, no matter what the weather's doing outside, it's always golf weather inside. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
This show's pretty rockin', huh?
Yeah, I'm so glad my State Farm agent helped me go.
Huh?
My State Farm agent. They help me with options to personalize my auto insurance to get a great rate that fits my budget, so I don't have to give up the things I love.
Wow. Hey, So, do you think I could get your State Farm agent's number?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Hopcat exists at the intersection of great beer and delicious food, complemented by music, art, community, and comfort. Home to a best-in-class beer experience served by craft beer experts, guests can expect a casual, inviting local gathering place with some of the best damn burgers and fries you'll find in Lincoln. Hopcat is your pregame headquarters for basketball and volleyball all season long. Hopcat is located at 6th and P in the Haymarket. To plan your next trip to Hopcat, visit www.hopcat.com.
It's time for Outside the Box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into Outside the Box, being brought to you by Raising Cane's here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Joel Norman. We're chatting Lincoln Stars hockey, and for our next segment, we're chatting with a couple of members of the Lincoln Stars, goaltender Cameron Whitehead and defenseman Cole Krusberg-Rosine. And Cameron, I'll start with you because you're kind of the story of the week with how this past weekend went for you. 30 saves last Friday, picking up the win over Omaha. Saturday, 36 saves. I would argue almost a more impressive performance. Some of the stops you had to make that night. It's always, I never know the right way to ask goaltenders this. What was going right for you this weekend? What put you in the zone to have a big weekend?
So me and Art were kind of working on it. I was kind of just taking one period at a time. Kind of just worrying about the first 20, and that's the only thing you got to worry about. You don't got to worry about the second period or the third period. You just got to stay in the moment. So that's kind of what I was really trying to focus on this weekend. And obviously the team played good in front of me too. We wouldn't win that game if we didn't score 4 goals or 5 goals. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
What type of game is more challenging as a goaltender? You have a 1-goal game last Friday. The Stars win 1-0. The next night, back and forth. No team scored consecutive goals until the go-ahead goal by Cole and then the empty netter in the final 2 minutes. What type of game is tougher for you to kind of not necessarily to stay locked in, but to just be at your best level of performance?
I would probably say the back and forth game.
Okay.
Just because, if you score, they're going to bring all the momentum on their side pretty much. So, and they're, that's pretty much the rhythm of the game. If you score, they're going to score. So it's kind of just trying to understand how to shut them down. And then kind of just give us the momentum back on our side when I have to.
That helps a little bit too. Cole, let me ask you about this from a defenseman standpoint. What type of game is tougher? Is it that one? Because I'm surprised by Cameron's answer. Myself, as just an outsider, I look at it and I go, wow, I feel like the tighter 1-goal game that's a 1-0 game, you're overreacting about everything. Is it maybe easier when it's that case, or is it easier maybe a back and forth higher scoring type of game to be just locked in?
I'd say the 1-0 game is probably a little bit easier because you're just everybody's in a flow. Like you all playing the systems right, but then in the 5-3 game, you're making mistakes because they're scoring goals, and you're trying to bounce back from that and kind of stay locked in and then make sure. But in the 1-0 game, you're doing well, you got to keep doing well and just stay at that. So I mean, I'd say the 1-0 game is a little bit easier to play defensively. I don't know. It's hard because they're both difficult to play, but
different types of challenges. So if you're a Stars fan, you probably know about Cameron, who's been playing here the last 2 years. Cole, you've quickly acquainted yourself with fans with how much we're calling your name. It feels like you had the game-winning goal this past Saturday. You've been pretty much quarterbacking that second power play unit as well. Talk to me about your comfort jumping up from the North American Hockey League into the USHL here with the Stars.
Yeah, I mean, the first few weeks, it's different. It's faster. It's smarter hockey up here. I mean, North American League's good, but it's not nearly as fast, and you can kind of get away with more down there. But so it took a little bit, and I'm still adjusting to it. But I mean, it's fun playing up here. It's really just playing with high-end players like that. It's a lot of fun. So it's taken a little while, but I'm feeling more comfortable now, and it's just a lot of fun. Yeah.
The big thing I always hear people say is the speed. Every level of junior hockey going up, it's a little bit faster. How do you prepare and adjust yourself to be more comfortable with the speed? Is that maybe just, you're on the treadmill a little bit more? Is it something like that? You're trying to work on your endurance, something like that? Or what is it something else?
It's not even really your feet. It's more just your mind has to move fast. You're not so I probably can't skate that much faster than I could last year, right? So it's really just how your mind and your hands are moving throughout the game. And just bringing that up to speed, because that's really where it's at. Like in this league, you got like very little time to make the right play, and if you don't, it's in the back of your net. So it's like you got a lot. Like it comes fast, but it's like, I don't know, it's nice, it's fun, right? And yeah.
Makes it pretty interesting as well.
Definitely.
Cameron, last Friday, it was a really fun game to watch. Going into that game, I was really excited. It was Stars winning 1-0 against Omaha. I was thrilled because you had two guys in net between you and Michael Harabel with Omaha, just with NHL attention all over them. You've, of course, already been drafted by Vegas. He's being considered potentially a first-round pick. What did it mean after the game? I don't know if you heard it, but head coach Rocky Russo was saying to fans that you saw two future NHL goalies tonight. What did it mean hearing something like that from your head coach?
Definitely means a lot. NHL is the best of the best, and obviously when your coach believes that you can get there, it's pretty special. And it's kind of just that rivalry that we're kind of building with them. Him being an A-rated goalie or whatever, obviously puts a little bit of chip on our shoulder to outperform him, just because you were an A-rated goalie. Yeah. So just kind of having that competition. He got the first game against me too. He won 4-1, and then it was great getting that 1-0 win over him for sure.
Was it nice to have a quick bounce back? Because the first game against Omaha, I don't think by any means it was your fault. And then 4 goals, there were several in there. It was like, okay, well, that one could have gone either way because of a bounce or so. Was it nice, though, to get a game the next week against the same opponent and the same guy in net, knowing I've got a chance to right the ship here again?
Yeah, for sure. Always beating Omaha is always a pleasure. So, it's just kind of keep building that rivalry, and just trying to get the better end of them against Harabel and Omaha every night.
Obviously, you've been well acquainted with this rivalry. Cole, you've jumped in. I love asking the newcomers about this. What do you think of the Omaha rivalry so far? Fans obviously love it. You can tell their energy. What I loved last Friday, you see guys coming up and you see the fans getting a little bit louder, trying to holler over toward the Omaha players. What have you enjoyed about this rivalry with the Lancers so far?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, the Icebox gets loud in there, and they get even louder when Omaha's there. So it's like, everybody's in, and when you're playing there too, their fans bring it too. So I mean, just wherever you're playing, there's going to be energy in the building, and you're gonna have to show up and perform that night. So it's a special rivalry for sure.
How does this rivalry compare to? Did you have any like this in the North American Hockey League? Did your team have an opponent who were circling them? And if so, how do these rivalries compare?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not like through the fan bases as much as this one is, but I mean, last year there was definitely teams that you kind of build a rivalry throughout the season, and just because you're playing them so much and it's so intense every game. But I don't know, this is definitely something like I haven't experienced, because it's just everybody in Omaha and Lincoln is there and watching it, so it's fun. Yeah.
Now, Cameron, a lot of guys have been telling me they kind of dislike Tri-City a little bit more, and I wonder if that's kind of based on last season. You're a returner. Take me through that. Which team are you dislike a little bit more? We'll put it nicely.
I would probably go with Tri-City just because of how much they beat us last year. Especially me, I never really had a great game against them. They always got the better end of me, so it's always been nice beating them in their building, and beating them at home as well. And then obviously the Omaha rivalry is unmatched. It's obviously a different energy in the building when you're playing Omaha. So, but I would have to go with Tri-City in my opinion.
I imagine you guys, how can you not sometimes have nerves that you deal with? Maybe in these games like that where the crowd's a little bigger, a little bit more excited. How do you settle yourselves in a situation like that? I'll start with you, Cole.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say if you're in against Omaha, when you're on the ice in the last minute of the game, you have a little bit, because it's 1-0. It's a close game. It's been close all game. You might have a little bit of nerves, but it's just, I mean, you've done it a million times throughout your life and in practice. So you just got to fall back to that and just settle yourself in it. And you know what to do. You've done it so much. So you know the systems. You just play as hard as you can pretty much. Yeah.
Cameron, how about you? Because as a goaltender, it's a different challenge, I would imagine.
Yeah, but it's pretty similar. I mean, I would agree with his statement too. You've done it 100 times in your life, and fans, I mean, it obviously adds a different aspect, but it doesn't really change your play at all. So it's kind of just understanding how to stay in the moment and just making the right plays when you have to.
Art was just in here. Art Bry, the goaltending coach for the Lincoln Stars, as we're chatting Lincoln Stars hockey here on 93.7 The Ticket on Outside the Box, brought to you by Raising Cane's. Art was just talking a little bit about the improvements you've made this season, Cameron. What are some things in particular? I've asked you this plenty of times, but a different platform here. Explain to fans, what are some things you feel like you've personally improved on compared to last year?
I think the biggest thing compared to last year is my mental. my mental game. Obviously going through a lot last year with all the outside pressure on me. I don't think I was really ready to handle that. I didn't expect it walking into the season. So obviously I learned how to deal with that now, and I'm just way stronger mentally, kind of understanding how to stay in the moment and understanding that I know what my game is, and I just have to go and do that every night. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cole, I think he brought up the mental aspect, and I think everyone thinks about that with the goaltenders. You as a skater, as a defenseman, that's a big part of the game here. I think art's been a big part of that as well. Whether you guys are doing yoga or something else, how big of a factor is it in your game as a preparation as a player?
I'd say every position it's big. I think say the biggest is just the confidence. Like, if you're confident in yourself, like, you can make a difference. And then when you're not confident in yourself, you feel it, and everything just feels like it's not going right for you. So, the mental game it's bigger than I ever thought it would be, honestly. Like, growing up, you're training, you're doing your skills, and you think that's what's going to get you to the next level. But when you really get there, it's like, you got to be confident, and like the mental part of the game really comes out. So, yeah.
I would imagine it feels that way at this level, because you guys, what I always tell people I love about junior hockey is that you guys are basically treated like professionals. This is basically your job. You do have some other things. Some other guys have classes and other things they're working on. You're trying to get college commitments if you're some people too. But for the most part, you're treated like a professional. How do you stay locked in on that profession? Is it easier because you have each weekend, or is it tough because there's some days in between that you got to fill when you get out of practice? I'll start with you, Cameron.
It's definitely tough. The season's so long. And when it gets into the longer end of the season, the February, since it's cold outside, it's definitely tough wanting to get out of bed and stuff like that. But we're all here for a reason, and we all want to get to that next level. So it's kind of just understanding the process of what we want to do and what we want to accomplish, and coming to the rink every day with a positive attitude and wanting to get better.
I like that you bring up it's a long season. Cole, how do you stay locked in despite that? You've done this in the North American Hockey League already.
Yeah, I think just being surrounded by 25 other guys each day that have the same goal in mind, I think that definitely helps, because, maybe one day you're not feeling it, but, like, everybody else in practice is pushing hard, so you got to go out there and you got to push hard too.
It makes sense. It's November right now. Stars are in first place, but what really matters is what happens with the Clark Cup in May, and obviously a lot of time until that point. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more. This is Outside the Box, being brought to you by Raising Cane's on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Megan Whitaker from the Nebraska golf team. If you've put your clubs away for the winter, it's time to get them back out. There's no need to stop thanks to Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle is home to Lincoln's best indoor golf simulators. It's perfect for every level of golfer, with everything from casual games for the kids to hyper-realistic simulations of some of the best courses in the world. And the best part, no matter what the weather's doing outside, it's always golf weather inside. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
In today's day and age, people are trying to do more and more projects by themselves. That might be better on the wallet, but it can also lead to painful sounds like this. Ow! Poor guy, trying to do wiring all by himself. Let's have another listen. It's just not worth it. Don't hurt yourself or make things worse than they are already. For any of your electric needs, call Joe at Ambition Electric today at 402-217-3415 or go to ambitionelectric.com.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to Great Clips. Great Clips asks, what's the difference between good and great?
Come on back and have a seat.
Good asks you what haircut you'd like.
I have all your details from last time. Would you like the same haircut today?
Great already knows. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details so you can get the same thing as last time, every time. Download our online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning. Now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
In your busy life, very little is free, but your next home might be a bit less than you think with a free appraisal from Security First Bank. Free home appraisals from Security First Bank. We're the bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Offer valid through December 31st, 2022 on secondary market new home purchase loans only. One free appraisal per transaction. Appraisals paid for by lender at closing. Subject to lender qualifications. See lender for details. NMLS number 505011.
It's time for Outside the Box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Outside the Box here on 93.7 The Ticket, being brought to you by Raising Cane's. I'm Joel Norman. We're joined by Stars goaltender Cameron Whitehead and defenseman Cole Krusberg-Rosine. Two big games for the Stars coming up this weekend. Friday, they are at Omaha. Hope to see you on the road for that 7:05 p.m. game. And then Saturday, back at the Icebox at 6:05 p.m. to take on the Des Moines Buccaneers. And guys, we were just talking about this, the post-game jersey auction coming up on Saturday. Cole, you said you've never been a part of one of these before. No. So are you excited for this, to see what that's like, to see whose jersey goes for the most or so?
Yeah, that'll definitely be cool to see. Last year they did an auction, but it was like just after you like signed up like for it. But so it'll be cool to go out with your jersey and kind of see who buys it and see all that and see who goes for the most.
Who do you have a guess? Someone who might get yours? You have family? You think your billets are going to go for it? Do you have anything like that?
Actually, my mom and brother are coming up this weekend, so maybe they get it. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll have to ask them to start bidding on that. Cameron, you were part of that last year. We were talking about the fun parts of that. What's exciting about that? Is it just kind of seeing the way fans get really involved in it, or what makes them so fun?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool seeing how like passionate they are about our jerseys, and it's always fun trying to see who gets the highest selling one. So, yeah, no, it's cool to see how excited they are about the jerseys for sure.
We brought up a moment ago, we think yours will probably go for a fair amount. So not including yourself, who do you think is going to have the highest selling, we'll say, jersey?
Mason's probably going to have a lot. I mean, it depends who has a really good game too. Yeah. So if someone has like a fight or something like that, it'll definitely raise the price, or they get a hat trick or something like that. But Mace will probably get a lot. Probably Boston too, because his name's pretty sick.
That's a very hockey name.
Yeah.
We're a team that has a defenseman and a head coach with very hockey names. Yeah. I always love telling people those ones.
Yeah.
I said to someone this past week that Jimmy Jursev's jersey stock has gone up with his fight last Friday, and I don't know how many people saw his fight against Tri-City as well. I think that's up there a little bit. Cole, are you going to do anything extra flashy this weekend to maybe pump your own tires a bit?
Yeah, maybe get it a fight in. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully do something to raise the stock, though, for sure.
I can't say I'd be surprised if you got in one, because I've already been surprised a few times. Jimmy getting in multiple. I didn't think he'd get in one. I didn't think I'd see Michael Messick, and I watched him a lot last year. So everything is on the table, I've realized, with this team. You guys have been, I don't know how well the cameras are picking this up. You guys have been growing mustaches. It is Movember. You guys got it a little tough because you're blonde. Who's someone on the team who's really stood out? You've said, wow, he's got a good stash going right now, and he is probably winning among the team members.
As of right now, I think it's Books and Massey. other than that, I really don't know who else can grow a good
I
mustache.
bet Tony could get a good one going.
Tony maybe.
Yeah.
I think Raph maybe too.
But besides that,
really
yeah,
don't
a
know who
bunch of
else.
baby faces. I don't know how many.
Well, you guys are younger, so
Yeah,
it's not a surprise. We brought up the Massey one. I got to ask this. I'm curious what fans think of this. Lucas has had a beard pretty much since he got here. Is it fair that he hasn't really shaved and then begun again at the beginning of November? Because he kind of just went in with what he had already. I think that's cheating a little bit. What do you guys think?
Maybe a little. I don't know. He's got a head start on us,
Yeah,
and we're already pretty far behind. So yeah, maybe a little cheating.
Yeah,
there.
it's clear you can already get. I think you
Yeah.
got to start from scratch to make it as fair as possible. So we mentioned the 2 games coming up this weekend, Omaha and Des Moines. I mentioned this with Art, guys, but it's got to be. I think it's easier. I think in your sense for preparation, you're playing teams who have similar records as yours. Is that does that make it easier when you prepare for a game? We'll start with you, Cameron.
You definitely focus on it a little bit, just because if it's a kind of a bigger game than someone who's on the lower end of the standings. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't change anything. You got to take every game the same way, no matter who your opponent is. And obviously, it's an Omaha rivalry, so it's been circled for a while already. But yeah, you got to take every game the same way.
Cole, do you feel that sometimes it's easier to be prepared when they're closer in record to you?
Yeah, I mean, like he said, though, you have to take every game the same way. But definitely, if they're close in the standings, it's going to be intense, and there's going to be a lot of energy in the building. So yeah, I'd say if they're closer, you definitely a little bit more dialed in. But I mean, every game is pretty intense. So
Makes sense. Well, thank you guys for joining us this week. Big thank you to everyone for tuning in. We hope to see you this Saturday. The Stars take on Des Moines. That game at 6:05.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC fabrication and sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides